Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to another edition of Faith, Family, and Finance. I am Sharindria Robinson,
I'm Marcus Robinson.
and tonight we want to come on and talk to you about this virus. Duh, of course, right? Like, I guess everybody knew we would talk about the virus. Well, we're not just talking about the virus because this is Faith, Family, and Finance and not the CDC. So, we are talking to you tonight about how this virus is impacting your small business or your large business for that matter. But we're experts in small business, not
Large business.
major corporations.
Not yet.
So we're gonna stick not yet. I like the way you said that. So we're gonna operate in our lane. So tonight we want to talk about small businesses. But first, before we get into our conversation, I ask that you like this page. I ask that you share this message with others. We are sharing this to our personal pages and other pages, so you may be watching this right now from, another page. But I'm asking that you please go to Robinson Coaches, Faith, Family, and Finance, and that you like that page and that you engage with us from our Faith, Family, and Finance page because it's only there at that page that we're able to see your engagement and have this conversation with you. And trust me, tonight is not a conversation that we can have by ourselves. And you're thinking, but wait, I don't have a business, so I don't need to tune in tonight. Yes, you do. You really do. I
Mm.
guarantee you there's going to be some things that are shared on tonight's broadcast that will benefit you. If you're in ministry, if you are just trying to manage your household, then that's business. You are responsible for that, and so we want to make sure. I mean, it is
You are
when
the
you think
CEO
about
of
it.
your house,
I,
right?
you better believe that I am the CEO of this one right here. You're the CFO, but I'm the CEO of this
I
one.
don't even know what to say to that.
You don't know what to say to
No,
that?
I don't know what to
Oh,
say to
yeah,
that.
you're the CFO, and I'm the CEO. So we're gonna make sure that we're sharing it across the different pages, and make sure that you know to come in, tune in to us on the Robinson Coaches page. So, even though we're gonna get into talking about the small business, I want to just talk about start off with. A large company here and just showing how this thing is having an impact. There's a restaurant franchise. It's called the Home Team,
Mm-hmm.
and this franchise is new to us in the Columbia, South Carolina market. And I just read a report that said that they are closing all of their stores or restaurant, excuse me. And it sounds like it may be a temporary move, but in the midst of all of this that is going on with the virus, the CEOs, the powers that be for that particular company, have said, you know what? We're shutting it down. We're shutting it down. And y'all, that's a major operation, but it impacts people. Hey, hello, 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 mother. It impacts people on a very local level. The fact that they're closing the Columbia, South Carolina um, restaurant, then that means people here are out of a job and increasing unemployment. But let's talk about our small businesses. Let's talk about our small
Yep.
businesses and how this is hurting us. And you know, when we were supposed to talk about this last week, but
Mm-hmm.
I was exhausted. Was out of town last week and was exhausted by the time I got back. I think I walked in the house at 9 o'clock, maybe. I
Absolutely.
don't know.
And
So
this week we have strep.
our apologies for not being here last week, and I said I wasn't going to talk that much, and I've managed to do all the talking in however many minutes we've been on.
It's
Five.
okay. You're a talker.
Um,
You are a talker.
so we talked about this last week. When I was looking at this last week to have this as our topic of conversation, I was really thinking about our service-based businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Those service-based businesses, yes, the 1 in 5 points. But our service-based businesses and how this is impacting them. But now, with a lot of the restaurants closing,
Mm.
at least their dining rooms, let me be correct, it's not just service based businesses. So, we're going to talk about like small based businesses. Small businesses, one, what is that? How do you define a small business? And then even micro business. Some of us are micro business. We don't
Right.
even buy the um,
Chamber of Commerce
definition, we don't even qualify as small business. We're micro businesses. So
right, because small businesses, according to the Chamber of Commerce, is 500 employees or less,
yeah.
and so we're at the micro level. But at the end of the day, this virus and this pandemic is pretty much affecting everybody the same way. And I'm looking at an article now with the chamber and talks about how small businesses have been affected. The first thing is you have loss of business, which would explain
Right.
that restaurant going out of business. And
Mm-hmm.
then, of course, there are the way we do business has to change. So, like for instance, you have people whose company models didn't allow them to work from home, and now all of a sudden, because you have curfews and you have all of these different things going on, people have to work from home if they go to work at all.
Right.
So if you think about a production-based business, an assembly line, if there's nobody to work the assembly line, you don't get product. If you're looking at a service-based business, if there's nobody to provide the service, no one's reimbursed, no one's getting paid. So when there's nobody's getting paid, bills start to become late, rent, mortgages, all of these types of things are affected. So there's a trickle-down effect that we probably need to discuss tonight too.
Okay. Great. So thank you for logging on. I need you to do me a favor. If you're on now and you're watching us, I want you to just take a second and hit the share button and share this broadcast so that others in your network who will benefit from this conversation so that they will join us. And if you want to be even more specific, type the name of someone in the comment box so that maybe they will then come and they will check us out. So like and share as we get into this conversation. So let's talk about something, because my mom is on the phone. My mom is on. And in Augusta, just like everywhere else around the world, you know, they're canceling these major things. But a major event that was canceled in Augusta was the Masters. Huge. So when you start looking at the Masters being canceled, you have to think about there were companies, and I'm not even going to tip the iceberg in trying to call out these small businesses that will be impacted by that. But there were companies who would maybe park the cars, there's the parking attendants. There were food trucks and restaurants were gearing up. Imagine restaurants in that market ordering all this additional food and stockpiling as they're anticipating the Masters, only to find out, less than a month in advance that this event is being canceled.
Yeah.
There were, the hotel industry in not only the Augusta, but the Columbia, the Greenville, because people will come from miles around. They will stay because all of the spaces are booked. As a matter of fact, our family members in Augusta in that general vicinity will rent their houses out. Y'all, you can make a lot of money renting your house, putting your space up on Airbnb or any of those sites for the Masters. And now these people who may have counted on this income, they're not getting it. Or cleaning. The cleaning industry. If you're cleaning, whether you're cleaning houses or hotels or things of that nature. Catering.
Day parties.
Wow.
Liquor.
Okay, we get it.
Just saying.
So it's a tremendous impact. It has a ripple effect. And yes, it hits the pockets of the big business owners, but it also trickles all the way down. And it hits the pockets of the small business owner, the mom and pop. So what do we do? Like, what do we do?
Michelle says that actually it affects education too, because students were doing internships.
Oh, wow.
So imagine if you have to get CEUs or some type of credit hours to graduate. What does that do? And they didn't talk about that. Because reality is you got people who have gone through their 4 or 5 years or whatever it took them to get out. They've done all of their requirements, but they won't have a commencement service.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. And that's additional money as well. Do you know, when you think about, when y'all think about...
paid too. Paid.
Yeah, paid. And when you think about the greeting card industry, I know when we think about graduation, around graduation time, there are all these cards, and banners and all these things for the 2020 graduate. You know, all this stuff has been mass produced. And now we're looking at
Wasted
graduations
material.
being canceled, postponed.
Yeah.
Well, I guess canceled. Some are being canceled. I guess that's what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me know. But, and I guess you would still have some of these things because people will still have private gatherings and private parties.
Right.
But by and large, the amount of money that we've seen being spent in years past will definitely not be spent this year. But yeah, we have to get to let's start talking some solution again. Hey Sherman, thank you. Hey Cottrell, thank you all for joining us. Let me pull this monitor up so I can see a little bit. I don't know what's going on lately. Don't make my drink fall. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us again for another edition of Faith, Family, and Finance. No jokes here. We're talking about how this coronavirus is having an impact on our business. So if you have a business, we definitely want to hear what it is you have to say. There's some people there who are actually talking about their business.
So we got Sherman talking about I guess he rented his house out. Many people spent money getting houses clean, getting houses ready, painted in certain cases, because if you Airbnb and your pictures have to look a certain way. So yeah, it's a big deal. And Mom says, yeah, ACAP cleaning service had appointments for cleaning houses before and after the Masters. That's contract
Yeah, that
stuff.
makes sense because you need to clean it before.
Yes.
And then when those people leave,
you don't know those
you
people,
want
so
your
you want
house,
to keep it clean
yeah,
after.
you want it clean again.
Yeah.
And so let me put this out here, Marcus. You have to talk more. Why am I talking so much?
Because you were a talker.
Do we?
Just saying.
Come on, people. I'm not the only one. Do we count our money before we get it?
Oh. Keep talking. Don't look at me.
I'm looking at you.
Why?
Do we count our money before we get it?
I think we do in some cases.
I think in some cases we do. Come on, y'all, speak to me. Speak to me. Speak to me.
Yeah.
And the stimulus package didn't pass. Wow.
I gotta go back and watch that. I saw a lot of commentary, but I hadn't.
Yeah,
seen it yet.
I did, and I mean, he's such a. Anyway,
different.
okay, carry on. Do we count it before we get it? I had a. What did I have? I had a seminar, 2-day seminar, for a school district. Ta-da! For a school district that was planned for the end of this month. It's a professional development workshop. And because it is a professional development workshop that gives the participants continuing education hours, our state has not adopted an online platform that would allow those individuals to still be able to get their continuing education hours, and I do the training from my home. Like, I am capable of... obviously, yeah. I am capable. I could have set up a training, and it was a relatively small group.
Yeah.
And so there could have been 20 of us on a Zoom platform or some other platform of my choosing where I could have engaged all 20 learners. But there's no guarantee that they were going to receive the number of continuing education hours that was required by the state by us doing this platform. I mean, it's just this model. It's never been done before. I usually show up to my clients and I implement the training and I get a nice check at the end. That was for the end of this month. We get a nice check. It's not happening.
Did that boy say Metamucil? I'm sorry. You know, I got some people on. We got people on here.
So it's not happening. So when we talk about how this virus impact what you're doing, we have to start thinking outside of the box. So I want us to kind of transition, because we've been on this about 15 minutes. Let's start talking about some solutions. I want us to transition and start thinking about, like, what are some of the things that we can do. For example, 2 weeks ago, we were sitting here talking about the Black Wealth Summit. And at the last minute, we were not able to have the Black Wealth Summit. And Javertis is on, and he's saying that he had to cancel 8 events. 3 which cost money and clients. Summer says, all I can say is please vote in November. Like, please vote in November. ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, if we are offering seminars and workshops, I think what this virus is doing, or this pandemic is doing, is allowing employers, the powers that be, to realize that we have to have alternative ways of doing something. I saw a phenomenal, and I see Mauricio is on here. I saw a phenomenal conference on yesterday. And I want to shout out Joy McLaughlin and her Shift Summit. I mean, it was amazing. There were 3 events that I knew of yesterday that I was connected to as an attendee, and 2 of the 3 were canceled. But Joy had her event. She turned it into a virtual event. Mauricio is on the live now. He was a part of that as a photographer, videographer. I just messed that word up. But he was a part of that, and it was great. Like, I enjoy watching it. How can we create these closed Facebook groups, still monetize it, and still allow our events to take place? What are some other solutions? Let's start talking solutions. You know, I'm going to get to the money part. But let's start talking, what are some solutions, some things that we can do, even when we can't physically go out and touch our clients in the way that we're accustomed to?
Well, I think one of the things that's happening now, we're being forced to get back to the basics. You know, as a small business owner, the basics really are connecting with people one-on-one, one client at a time. And churches all over the world had to see today that the church model that we've been presenting, we couldn't do it today. You know, so everybody was scrambling, trying to figure out, how do we do church differently? Well, church is one thing, but business is about the same, and we have to figure out, how do we do business differently? And you're right, an online platform is one thing, but really taking this time while we can't go out and do everything we normally do, sharpen your skills. First thing, sharpen your skills. Second thing, learn a new skill set. I had to learn one this morning.
You had to learn one.
You know, I needed Mauricio's help, but you know, he's
we made it through.
Jesus. Anyway, so yeah, sharpen your skills, the ones that you're already using to develop your business. The second thing is learn a new skill. So for instance, in every business, we sub things out. All right. So in this case, I might sub out photography or videography or sound, right? Well, in a situation like this, I have a couple of weeks where I can learn one of those skills, or at least start, right? So, you know, I took on the sound thing a while back, just because we didn't have a sound man in our church. I'm somewhat of a musician, so I got an ear for this stuff, so I can.
You're a master musician.
Well, I'm somewhat of a musician,
Master.
so reality is, it wasn't a stretch for me to deal with sound and AV and audio, right? So I took that project on because I wanted it a certain way. It wasn't necessarily to monetize, but it was saving us money. Because if we had to go out and get, you know, somebody who's a legend like a Mauricio, somebody, he would charge us $1 million
to come into church and do that work for us. Yep.
But you know, the reality is, we had to learn another skill. Even in our company now, as a real estate broker, I'm trying to figure out, okay, it's not really about me approaching more clients. It's me leveraging the relationships that I have so that they can approach more clients, and I can look at maybe referrals. So if you're in business for yourself, look at how you can improve your referral system. Okay, because ultimately, during this 1, 2, 3 weeks, you have time to contact a lot of people that you know and talk about your business, talk about not necessarily the hardships of it, but the value that you bring. And in talking about the value that you bring, you ask for a referral. Sometimes you will have to give away free services. Okay, this is the season that we're in. In order to make connections, sometimes you have to give away something for free. And the reason you have to give something for free is because people don't know you in that space. You know, if I went to high school with you and I hadn't seen you in a lot of years, you know, I might see whatever on the internet, but I don't know you like that. I knew you in high school, you know, and so you have to prove yourself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I love it. So Marcus, sharpen your skills and learn a new skill set. So, and when you're doing all of that, we want to look at. I'm gonna read some of these comments in a second. But how are you accepting money? You know, I've seen so many. Marcus went there with the space about the churches. I definitely didn't want this to. But anyway, y'all saw all the stuff that went on with churches today online, including with us. But are you able to accept money digitally? I know that there's a group of people who, you know, they will fight against the way the church will receive money. But if I have to wait for everybody in the congregation to mail the check, you know,
lights out.
well, I don't know, but there were people who would give digitally today. There were people, you know, at the end of last year, we made sure because we had text to give
Right.
and we had give online.
Right.
But I just saw that there was still a younger group who would give more readily if I allowed them to cash out. So why miss out on that opportunity? Because some people have money sitting in their cash store that they'll just, oh yeah, the church is asking for a donation, the church is asking for an offering. They don't care anything about cash apping $5
at all.
And so you do that, you have that set up, and now the church is in position, not just the church, but your business. So how does your business accept funds? Do you have to have the client writing checks to you? Or can you make sure that you are able to accept funds across all the digital platforms? You want to be able to do that. So that is something that you can do as a business owner. But I gotta back up. I know we got some comments here, but I gotta go way back. Hey April, thank you for joining us.
Principal Shell.
I gotta go way back. You know, that's something that Summer typed well up in the comments before, and it talked about. And I wanted to go here. I kind of had this on my notes, but it talked about. She talked about those refund checks and monies that people been getting. Like, think about how, like, you just got that nice check to hit, and then, like, all this happened. Like, it's like a punch in the stomach almost, because you think about the money that you wasted. So here's my question and tip for the business owners. But if you're not a business owner, this applies to you too. How much do you save from every piece of revenue that you bring in? How much do you save? Better question, do you save? Do you? So I remember, early on as a business owner, it may have been you, wasn't you?
I know it was me.
Whatever. Early on as a business owner, I was giving the advice when I first started. It was take 10% of every dime that comes into your business and put it away. Save it. Save it. My brother Sherman is on, and he talks about, like, you know, the 10 that we give to God, and you know, I always like to say the 10 you give to myself. And then, you know, but his thing is, you know, what do you do with the 90? Or, you know, so I like to ask people, what do you do with the 80? Like, even in business, for me, that principle stands true. What do you do with the 80? If I was going to make $2,500 on this gig at the end of the month, this opportunity at the end of the month, I don't see $2,500. I do not see $2,500. Automatically, there's a certain amount of that money, 10% or more, that is going to an account that's not here. And we've said this before. We said this for you. You don't own a business, but you have a job. You have some kind of income coming in. I don't care if it's disability income. You have some kind of income coming in. You have to learn to live on the 80. And for so long, we haven't been living on the 80. Actually, we don't even live on what we make. Don't get me talking about credit card debt. I can talk about my own, but don't get me talking about credit card debt. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And we have all these things out there, and we say, okay, we're going to pay it off. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But we have to live on the 80. So now, as a business owner that's been in business for however many years, think about if that 10% rule, if you would apply that 10% rule, just 10%, to every opportunity, every dime that's ever come, every dollar that's ever come into your business, you put aside a dime. I'm stop. You talk in these comments. Yeah, they're great. Because my throat is on fire.
Maurice
So,
says he's under $1 million. Okay. We go. How much under $1 million though? That's the question. Now Maurice has been really good. That's not. I know that dude a long time, but so yeah, we might be having candlelight service according to Summer if we don't pay our bills. You're right. Um, so we have a question. Some people say pay tithes off the
we're
gross.
going there, Summer? How we get there, Summer?
Summer, really?
How we get there, Summer?
This is where we're going now.
Summer.
All right. Some people say pay tithes on the net. What is your opinion?
Pay tithe.
Oh,
No, for real. Because some people just don't do that. Like, if you just pay tithe. Like, I don't even get into the debate of gross and net. If you ask me what I do, I pay off my gross.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me what I do. Opinion, I mean, just pay it. You can pay on your net, and maybe you'll get to a point where you want to pay on your gross.
you have to start.
Pay it. You got to start. Because for me, I want my tithe to be 20%.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So
like
you want tithe
the,
offering.
because the 10% is the least that I can do.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't want to be mediocre at anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always above that. Always. That's always my desire. Like, it hurts me if I can't give more than that. So there you go, Summer. Yeah. I know I did mention 10%. I know, Summer. Love you. Yes. So yeah, I do 10% of my gross. But and so the same with my business. You know, I do 10% of that. Sherman says one of the things that we need to be able to do, and I can't read all that.
Cut expenses, but not education. Go through your statement. Go through all your statements. Call and obtain new credit and debit cards. Most small business will find some auto drafts that you don't need. Now that's true. Going through all your bills, figuring out what's on auto draft that doesn't necessarily need to be on auto draft, or things that you subscribe to
Oh yeah.
that you don't even use anymore. You know, stuff that that little $9.95 a month or $3.99 a month or
I know.
whatever. Stuff that you never really you don't even know what it's for.
Mm-mm.
You know, figuring out, go ahead and get those new accounts set up, redo all of that stuff. And that stuff is time consuming. But guess what? You
We
got time.
But see, you know what? Let me bust this bubble. Let me dispel this myth. Everybody talking about you got time. Because let me tell y'all, I don't have time. Like, I don't know if people thought that this has been like a chill week. I wish. Like, I do not have time. I have not had time to do not one thing. But that's just me. I digress. This live is not about me. But I don't see where this time is. I don't have it. Anyway.
That's a whole
These
nother
expenses. I just cut gym membership. Because he says I got time. So I told the boys, since they're home with me, then we're all doing PE together.
Whole nother
So-
thing. Whole nother thing.
But
So-
it's a serious bill to be able to cut.
Well, yeah. You're looking
when
at gym membership. You're looking at child care. You're looking at a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah. What does mom say?
So, mom says we pay off the gross. If Uncle Sam can take his 13 to 18% off the gross, I can give the 10% freely.
Okay.
And freely that is the operative word.
Freely.
Yeah.
Freely.
He loves a cheerful giver.
Right.
And some people look at tithes really as a bill and not necessarily an opportunity. And this is not a live necessarily based on how to give, but there is sowing and reaping, and there are ways to benefit in this season.
Exactly. We have to benefit. Like someone was saying, I brought up the 10% as it pertains to businesses, but you have to be able to put those funds back. Individuals need a rainy day account, but businesses need a rainy day account too.
Absolutely.
And so, but some people are probably watching saying like, again, but what if I don't have any of that? Like, I'm not bringing in consistent revenue, but I need to figure something out during this time. Like, this is the time where Marcus is saying this, sharpen your skill set. Create these new pages on social media. Like, create a new page. Do something. Figure out what you can monetize. I hate to sound like this, but we got to have some additional streams of revenue somewhere in the midst of all of this. So if you got to open a Poshmark store and start selling your clothes, or going to that icon on Facebook where you can sell things.
Or sell somebody else's clothes.
Do whatever. Yeah,
Sell somebody else's
consignment.
clothes.
Sell somebody else's clothes. Meal prep businesses should be booming during this time. Like you're home and you're cooking and you're doing all these things. Like, I know for me as a speaker and as a trainer, there are a couple of ways. Yes, speakers, you make short money while you're standing in front of people and you're delivering a message, but you make long money when you have publications, when you have books, when you have
Subscriptions.
well, not so much CDs. I had some of those a long time ago. Subscriptions, memberships that people can be a part of. That's not the word I was looking for, but I was looking for webinars. That's what I was looking for. Webinars, Zoom trainings, when you can do these virtual trainings, because you can now begin to offer the virtual trainings, and people will begin to pay them. Tomorrow, what I'm doing in my research is looking at, and Javertas, you may already know this, so let me know if you know it. What has been the increase in Zoom subscriptions and Skype and all those things since the nation has kind of been under quarantine, and we haven't seen the tip of the iceberg yet. That's my opinion. But what has been the increase in their subscriptions? What has been the increase in people creating YouTube and other platforms? I want to bring up a guy I went to college with, and I've seen it here with some of the DJs in Colombia. DJs are having 10, 15 events canceled, like photographers, but they're going online and they are doing these midday mix and Sunday brunch mix and doing all these things and throwing up their cash out. You know what? People are giving.
Yeah.
They're not making the 6 to 10, 15, however many $1,000 that they would make for a big event, but something is better than nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maurice, he asked about investing in stocks now, and Stanley says the market is volatile right now. But with the organized group of mentors, you can do plenty well in trading. That's really not my area, but I imagine somebody's gonna get rich off this.
Oh, of course.
But
our financial advisor, they sent us, using that same word, sent us documentation or a letter talking about the market and talking about our funds, and they're doing the best they can to make sure everything remains whatever. Look, I know it's dropping, but that is why there's a diverse portfolio.
Exactly.
That's why most of my stuff is in the stocks and the different funds, and then on this other side there is the real estate. So in the end, it's gonna all wash out together. It's going to be fine. That's why you can't ever go anywhere. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
So Javerta says, no, we haven't. Zoom is exploding.
Yeah.
YouTube forcing you to have at least 1,000 subscribers to do lives from your mobile device because of so many people doing them. Yeah, it's like everybody who's anybody is trying to get an online platform at this point.
Now. Yeah, they're trying to get it now.
Really, well, it's too late. But it's never too late.
Never too late. Yeah, never too late.
But there was a window, just like anything has a window. Javert says the market is tricky because we've also had moments of halted trading during this time. This is so different than 2008. You're absolutely right.
It is.
You're right.
And I think Taylor, I don't know if Taylor's still on, but I remember Taylor posted an article earlier this week. And Gerardus, you may be familiar with this. I can't even remember the guy. But he sold like so much of his stock like right before it kind of plummeted or not sold, but took the money out or whatever. But it was definitely a kind of insider type thing. You knew that he knew what was about to happen, and it was just ridiculous. But look, this is not the time for us to lose faith. This is not the time for us to lose heart. It is definitely time for us to be creative. We got to be creative. We have to figure out like what is it that we can do as we're putting our pages out, our culinary pages out. I mean, let me tell you, being in this house with these wonderful children that I have, most days, and this week I was in the house with them all day because I was sick. So being in the house with them all day, and then cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love to cook, but sometimes I don't even want to cook my own food. I don't even want to eat my own food because I'm just sick of doing that. Like, it seems like all I'm doing by the time I finish cooking one meal and cleaning up the kitchen, it's time to eat again because they're asking for food every 5 minutes.
Cycle.
So it was beautiful today to have somebody say, "Hey, I cooked. Here's some food." I thought, "Oh wow, that's great." I was waiting on her to say, "Cash out me, $30 because that's how much your food costs or something," you know. But people are tired of cooking. People are tired of being in the house, tired of doing their own food. If you're saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put together a Sunday meal and I will deliver it to you, and this is how much it's going to be," I mean, that's something that's great. I'll prep some meals for you, some snacks for the kids. I'll come and cut up all your fruits and veggies. And I don't know. Y'all get it. We have to be creative. If you're in photography, even some of those prints, some of those wonderful prints, then hey, how we start talking about framing those prints and putting them out there and making them available for sale to individuals. Some of the nature shots, some of the whatever. I mean, people still are going to need things to go into their office. We are going to bounce back. We are going to rebound. And so people are going to need this stuff. What services can we continue to offer and how can we tweak our services during this time?
Goes back to developing another skill set.
Multiple streams of income.
Another
Is that the same
skill
thing?
set. No, not necessarily. Another skill set can lead to multiple streams of income, but developing another skill set says you know something that you didn't know prior. And as a result, either you can do it or you can farm it out.
Right. Another
So,
stream of income. Right?
no,
Well,
not
take
necessarily.
me through it then.
Because, so like for instance, if there are things then in my
Oh,
business,
yeah, because you don't. I get it. I'm there. I promise.
you got there.
I promise
Yeah.
I did.
So make sure everybody.
Go
else
ahead,
gets it.
go
If there are
ahead.
things in your business, in your household that you've not been traditionally good at, that you've traditionally farmed out, if you learn the tenets of that skill set, you're going to become a lot more efficient, and you probably won't pay as much.
I'm with you. I
Okay.
promise I am. Mm-hmm.
You won't pay as much because you know what to look for,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but yeah, online platforms. Right now, we have to digitize our content.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, um, things like this, you're going to see different forms of this same live at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's us taking this same information, putting it in book form, ebook form. Um, we don't know how else it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even exploring Zoom so that we can, instead of have people call in, we can figure out another way since Facebook decided to take the interview feature
Mm-hmm.
off. So there are plenty of things that we have an opportunity to learn. And I think I've said it before, if you are solving a problem, whoever solved the biggest problem makes the most money.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that at Hodge Hall, South Carolina State University. Class night. Yeah. So whoever's solving the biggest problem make the most money.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be about your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's the most creative and whoever can connect the most also will make a lot of money.
Let me tell you, for those who may be in service space, like in the cleaning business and all this, on that type of service base, if you clean houses, if you clean cars, if you clean commercial businesses, let me tell you, now is the time. What you want to start doing is, because this virus is out here, people do want clean spaces. They want clean surfaces. They want this kind of stuff. Even if you creating a Facebook presence where you're just giving people, it could be the same tips and guidelines that the CDC has put out. As a matter of fact, it should be. But now you're on your own live broadcast or putting out information to the masses, telling people like how often they need to clean, what they need to use to clean with. If you have people like my family, I love essential oils and using those as a part of my cleaning solution, natural cleaning solutions, because I can't stand the smell of a lot of different toxic solutions. Sharing information like that with people, and then creating vouchers and gift cards and at discounted prices now. So everybody's not sitting at home like counting 2 pennies. There are people who are sitting at home who are sitting on money, right?
Yeah.
So you need to start offering 2-for-1 like cleaning deals, or 2-for-1 photography deals, or family photos. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking, well, it's just us, a family of 5. What we waiting on? We can get in the front yard again, and Mauricio can come over, and we can have another family photo shoot. I mean, I'm just saying. Um, I know y'all were ready before, but I had to get my hair done. I still need to get my hair done a different way, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. But these are types of things that can still happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell those type services. You can sell. I mean, people are still washing cars. How can you change it? I'll come
With
to
this
you to
pollen
wash your
season,
car.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll come to you to wash your car. I'll do
absolutely.
whatever. People still need their businesses clean.
Mm-hmm.
As they're cutting down on their workforce, they still need their businesses clean.
Houses.
They need their churches clean. They need, what is it that you can do? You have to think about how you can diversify, even in this real estate market
Yeah, yeah. Now I will say this.
for the realtors who are on.
Yeah, for the realtors and anybody who is self-employed too. I mean, you want to try to develop maybe even an affiliate program. So the way affiliate programs work, basically, if Sharindria has a cleaning business, but I'm a realtor, I see several houses. I know people who have several houses. If her rate, for a 3 bedroom, 2 bath is $100, I say, look, let's partner.
Mm-hmm.
You give me 20 out of that 100,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'll increase your business by 30-40%. We got to start thinking in terms of partnerships. Okay, no one makes it through any type of crises on their own. Because the thing that we've not talked about is the psychological stuff that goes on when you have a crisis like this, because you were doing extremely well in your business, everything was going amazing, and then like in a day you're in quarantine. Now there's a curfew. So if you have an event out of town and you're a photographer, you can't even be out after 11 o'clock.
If you're working,
If you work third shift.
I mean, they'll let you do it if you're working.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's some drama to go with that sometimes too. April says that she's gonna try Zoom with her students next week. Yeah, definitely let me know how that goes, because I'm gonna experiment with it.
He's experimenting. I have a Zoom account. I use Zoom. I'll make sure he knows. But thank y'all. Please share the information as well. It's definitely something. Also as a student, that it seems like all the schools, especially the colleges, universities, is definitely something that's standard. That they're using. Leave me alone. Well, I didn't use it for college. I used it for business. But this is the thing that I have been able to see, that I've been able to use the free platform all this time for my coaching and consulting clients. But I have to stay under a certain number of minutes, and it's just all these other things that comes with the paid subscription. All the years that I've used it, I've not had to use the paid subscription. Now I need to upgrade my membership to use the paid subscription so that I can do more things, because the demand is higher now than it was before. I mean, there's a market. Let me tell you, even with churches going digitally, there's going to be a market for that. I was listening to or reading before I got on here a Facebook story by pastor, he called himself digital pastor Marty Quick. I was reading his story and his testimony online, and he was talking about how he was trying to, or doing a dissertation centered around digital worship services and digital worship experiences, and nobody was interested, basically. I know I'm messing it up. Go to his page, you'll find it. But I know I'm messing it up, Marty. But basically, long story short, like I've heard so many other people, I've heard Cabrina Bass say the same thing. Like years ago, they tried to get churches and places to move to a digital platform, and people didn't want to do it. Facebook, social media is the devil. I don't want to go there, blah, 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 blah. And now, look at where we are.
We've been forced in a position.
But not only that, even people who work in corporate America, and come on, my corporate America people that are on this live, there's so many of you on here. Even people who work in corporate America, I've heard many of people who are my age and younger in corporate America say there were individuals, a lot of their superiors, a lot of their, and it shouldn't be an age thing, but it is, a lot of their older colleagues and one in senior leadership, they were not in favor of telecommuting.
That's right.
People working from home and doing those things, they did not want it at all. They fought against it. Everybody needed to come in the office. Everyone needed to come in the office. And now that same generation is just like, oh, okay. I guess y'all need to work from home so we can make this happen.
Well, we're still fighting it.
Because you don't need to be in the office if you're in the risk pool for becoming sick. You need to be able to work from home. And so almost every day, every hour, I'm hearing people use language like, yep, my work is coming to my house to set up everything so I can work from home. They're coming to the house to set up everything so I can work from home. So many people are beginning to work from home now. And so, what kind of impact is that going to have? One, we learned today if you tried to go live or did any type of streaming of worship services, you need to have a super
Good
fast internet. Because you can put together the best presentation. If your internet keeps going in and out,
nobody's gonna have patience enough to watch it.
People are not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
They're gonna jump off. And so you have to start thinking about, even with your business, what is it that you can do now to get into this space and make sure that you can become competitive even in this space? I've seen, even from the Food Network show, chefs, gourmet chefs, who are just online cooking. You know how many people are stuck at home right now and can't cook? That's gonna help somebody on this line.
It's a
Do
dying
you
art.
know how many people are stuck at home and they cannot cook?
Yeah. I touched the stove for the first time in 7 years yesterday. 7, count them. 1, 2 people. Now, this is the thing. That's neither here nor there. But I'm gonna say this. It really is.
Oh
but
my gosh.
It was interesting. One thing that I've done, and really am doing, is taking advantage of my relationships with people who are in network marketing. I say that to say this. Every innovation doesn't require you to experience it. Somebody's already done it. So like, for instance, even with the streaming service that we subscribe to, it's a part of a bigger network marketing company. And they send me emails about how they're networking and navigating this whole crisis. And so I'm looking at how they're doing it. And so I'm trying to follow suit. You don't have to figure out every little thing. You need to partner in this season. You need to ask questions in this season and make sure that you're accessible and available. Because one of the things that will kill the average small business owner is not being able to change. And if we're not, and it's not a situation where you change because you have to embrace the change, and realize that change is going to come with so many bumps in the road. So, for instance, there are segments of our businesses where we have government contracts, and our government contracts say we have to stay in the office. So it's not even about what we want; it's about what we signed up for, right? And then there are other aspects of our business that are not government based, and we can pretty much have a lot more leeway. But the challenge for me is having people understand what their role is and what their role is in the bigger context of what we do. And that's something that we're going to have to figure out how to communicate, because people will, everybody has the same problem right now. Everybody has family issues, sitter issues. It's the same for everybody. And so I have, the last week I had several conversations with even our employees about, okay, how do we, what is corporate doing? What are we going to do? We're going to do business like we've been doing. But the reality is, we say that, but at the same time, we're listening at the news to figure out day by day how are we going to modify if we have to.
It's daily adjustments.
It's a daily adjustment.
And for many of these companies out here, I mean, I've talked to people who work major corporations even in the most progressive markets in Atlanta, Georgia. And I wish I had the resource. I'll share it. And they talked about how within their company, as large and as major, maybe it was a Fortune 100 company, but they weren't interested in people working from home. They do, at the end of the day, most of them, if they think, some of them do believe, if I can keep my eyes on you, if you will, then you're going to be more productive, which is not true. Granted, there may be some companies out there who it's not to say they're not doing it, but there would not be this mass exodus of things going into the home if most other companies were already doing this. They weren't doing it. Even our major company here in Columbia, Elgin, South Carolina, the Verizon wireless call center in Elgin. I mean, I don't know, is it thousands of people that work there? But they were even featured in the news, and we know people personally that work there. But they were featured in the news, and they had to shut down. But now they're setting up equipment. People had to come and pick up their equipment so they can work from home. If that was the case, I mean, why weren't they a large portion of these people working from home before? Have you seen that building? It's huge. So we build large buildings and we put people in them because we need people to come to work. That's the model. That's the model that we've operated on up until now. You get in your car and you go to work. And I'm just wondering how much of this virus is going to change this. What happens? What does July look like? What does September look like?
That's a good question.
Do we all haul all the equipment back to the office?
But see, again,
we don't know.
That's a product-based business for the most part. They sell phones and they sell service.
It's both, yeah. Mm-hmm.
For your average small business, most of those businesses are not selling knickknacks. They're selling services. So your people have to go out and sell, or you don't get the contract, you don't get the service, you don't get paid. So it's like it's corporate business is one thing. Small business, micro business, even though we have the same problems, our solutions are vastly different because we're dealing with smaller budgets. And good thing is in some cases we're dealing with smaller buildings, but it is a major challenge, and we don't have all of the answers. But I do know that with the things that we've even proposed tonight, with developing a new skill set or sharpening the skills that you already have, developing a new skill set, partnering with people, maybe doing an affiliate type of program where you can use each other's network, use each other's network to kind of increase the bottom line.
That's not all we discussed tonight. Putting aside 10%, since you numbering off in this 952.
Look,
putting aside 10% of everything. It's a we, honey. Putting aside 10% of everything. I know, it's never too late. It's never too late to start saving. So putting aside that 10% of everything that comes in your hand, whether you're going to give 10% to charity, and then this 10% is for you, for business development savings, putting aside that 10%. In addition to that, putting aside, go through and cut your expenses. What expenses can you cut? I'm about to cut one right now that's associated with my business because it's ridiculous. But what expenses can you cut? What's essential right now? It's great to have all the latest and greatest gadgets and tools and apps and services when it comes to your business, but are you really maximizing all of them? If we're not, do you get a return on them? But if you're not maximizing all of those things, then it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have them, especially if you're paying a premium for them. Summer says, this time has it been really different for me? It hasn't been. Okay. I am considered an essential employee, so basically I have to be at work. And so this is the time to continue to save. You got to save because we don't know. We don't know what July holds. We don't know what December holds. We have to make sure these same principles that we're talking about, that we're adhering to these principles in our personal finances as well. And someone on here mentioned couponing, and I think I saw a meme about that. Like, y'all were wondering what all these people gonna do with all this stuff they collected from couponing. Like, now you have the answer. Yeah, I don't even want to get into my couponing days. Yeah, did that, but I found that most of the stuff I got coupons for, we didn't use. Like, as I try to, when I started trying to eat clean,
or went bad.
Yeah, well, when you start trying to eat clean and do a lot of those things. So, yeah, but you could sell it. It would be great to sell right about now. I have a friend that's probably sitting on 1,000 rolls of toilet tissue because she was a mad couponer. And so any of those type skills that you want to implement, that would be great. Right now, you can't really stockpile anything because you only get one or two when you go into the store. They're not letting you get more than that.
There's a limit.
There is a limit, but my takeaway for tonight, and y'all, thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your conversation. Like, this has been amazing tonight. I appreciate it. I know we couldn't get to all the comments or all of what everyone said, but I am going to go back afterwards and make sure I read them, and make sure we comment and continue the dialogue. So it doesn't have to end here. We can definitely continue the dialogue offline. I just want to say that you need to keep the faith. Like, we have to keep the faith. We have to encourage each other. We have to realize that as business owners, large, micro, small, that there's enough there's enough out here for all of us. There's enough business. There's enough opportunities. That's the word I was looking for. Out here for all of us. We're not in competition. Even if there's 5 realtors on the line right now, we're not in competition with each other. If there's 10 photographers and 5 chefs on the line, we're not in competition with each other. Marcus used the key word, and that's collaboration. Let's move away from competition and let's start thinking more about collaboration. We're so much better together. We can have a stronger impact together if we come together. So that's my word to you. Don't lose hope, don't lose faith, and let's come together and do more work together.
The other thing is, as we kind of wrap up, this is a good time to really start to help develop your family. So, like for instance, most of the time when we're running 100 miles an hour, we don't have time or take time to educate our families about how things work. So, like even now, even as young as our children are, trying to educate them and trying to get them to understand the value of work, understand the value of a dollar, cleaning up after yourself. It costs us something. When they break toys or if they decide to not respect what they've been given, just like we've been given opportunity. How do we disrespect the opportunity that we've been given? How do we take for granted the opportunity that we've been given? So we've got to take time and force ourselves to have the conversations at home, because when you start talking about cuts and budget cuts, even in the house, that's cut and reassign. You know, so when you're cutting expenses, somebody feels that. So you have to educate your people as you go along and figure out what is essential to you. So, for instance, you see a lot of stuff, churches, and tithing is not even a church thing for me. It's just a personal faith thing that I have. The reality is, somebody will say, "Do I tithe in this crisis?" That's a faith issue. My faith says yes. Your faith may say something else. It's not for us to judge whether or not your faith is right, wrong, or indifferent. However, I will say this: the God that we serve will take care of His own, and the reality is He has mandates and requirements regardless of the season.
Right.
And so we have to acknowledge that and keep it moving.
Oh yeah, this all is a surprise to us, but at the end of the day, I always say it's not a surprise to God. I sit and laugh and think about, our 2020 declarations.
Oh man,
2020.
clear vision.
Oh gosh. Anyway, nobody saw this one.
No, what a prophets. What a prophets.
Stop it.
Sorry.
No one saw
The prophets
this.
didn't see this one.
Stop it. No one saw this one.
Okay.
No one saw it. No one saw it. I'm still holding true. 2020 was definitely the year. We started off the year saying that we're under construction. God is building something. God is building something in us, and He is. This time is definitely building a whole lot in all of us, and I believe that we're gonna come out the greater once it's all over. Yeah, this has been nice. This has been wonderful. We thank you for tuning in to another episode of Faith, Family, and Finance. We'll be back here next Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday. But before you get off tonight, I ask you to do this. I ask you to like, and I ask you to share. If you've benefited from this broadcast, you think some others can benefit, please share this broadcast. If you're in the city of Columbia, I did just see something. Go check out the city's website. I saw where the mayor has passed some
Legislation.
yeah, they're going to be giving away, or not giving away, but making loans and things available for small businesses, micro businesses. So make sure you're in that loop. Find out if your city is doing something, offering some type of stimulus package, even though there's not anything that's coming as far as we can see federally from the federal government. Check out your municipalities and see what's doing. Summer said it best. Vote. November is coming. Vote. That's all I have to say. Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching. I do.